16th of February, Rabbi Moore, Parsha Hashavua with Rashi, Sisa.
22.
Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi Amori.
Shalom Aleichem Shalom.
I got your email and I was able to download that and I was able to listen to it.
Okay.
So thank you very much. Appreciate your efforts.
Okay, good. Where are we up to? Yeah. Okay, I think we had done. We finished this. Now we're up to the next section. I'm just wondering whether I should skip that and go to, because there's so much in this week's Parsha. I think we should go to Shmir Shabbos. Yeah. Let's go to chapter 31. Chapter 31, Pasuk Yud Beis.
Yeah. Okay.
You have it? By the way, it's actually a very, this pasuk in itself is a rare pasuk because most times it's Vayedaber Hashem Moshe Lema. And here, Gabi Shabbos, there's only two mitzvahs which are said with Vayomer. Well, this point, this thing, and by tzitzis, it says, Vayomer Hashem Moshe Lema, Daber Bnei Yisrael V'mat Alehem V'Zolehem Tzitzis. I'll come think them. It's also there, it's Vayomer. And by the way, that pasuk, I'm sorry, the third mitzvah is the mitzvah of Bris Milah. Mitzvah Milah, it says, what's the lashon there? Vayomer Hashem el Abraham. Kodesh Baruch Hu said to Abraham, it's also lashon Vayomer, not. And that's why, actually, the Gemara to do with the Megillah. In the Megillah, it says, La Yehudim hoysa oira v'simcha v'sasa mikah. Right? So the Gemara says, interesting thing. How does Sasa in the Gemara says, Simcha, Yehudim hoysa oira zu Torah. Shneima, kineh mitzvah b'Torah ar. What is ar is referring to the Torah. The Simcha is referring to Yom Tov. It says, Sasain ze milah, Shnema sos anoichi alim rosecha kemoitzei shalom rov. Okay, David HaMelech said this pasuk. Sos anoichi alim rosecha kemoitzei shalom rov. So the Mefarshim, where's milah mentioned in this pasuk? Sos anoichi alim rosecha kemoitzei shalom rov. So Rashi explains that the first mitzvah which was given by Amira, okay, was the mitzvah of Bris Milah. That was the first mitzvah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu spoke to Abraham, the end of Parsha Slech Lecha. He told him, Vayomer Hashem el Avraham. So therefore, when it says Sosonuchi al Imrasecha, which Amira, I rejoice over your Amira, Kamotzei Shalom, as if finding great Shalom, which means great booty, great how do you say Shalom is spoil, right? As finding great spoil. Okay. Actually, Chazal say that David HaMelech said this pasuk when he was in the bathhouse. Because when he was in the bathhouse, He didn't have any other mitzvahs. Didn't have mitzvahs tefillin, didn't have mitzvahs tzitzis. He didn't even have Torah because you couldn't think about Torah in the bathhouse. So then he remembered he has one mitzvah with him the whole time. What mitzvah is that? Mitzvahs milah. Listen, the Jew always has that mitzvah with him. As he says, Sos anochi, I rejoiced over your mitzvahs. I said, finding great wealth, great spoil. Okay.
I heard that same story, but I heard it with a little bit of a different twist.
I
heard that he was in the shower, so he was completely naked,
right.
and he looked at himself and he said, I'm nothing but an animal. There's nothing that distinguishes me from an animal. And then he saw his bris and he said, Baruch Hashem, I'm not an animal.
Okay. So the Lashon of the Chazal is more like my pshat than his pshat because he was orum min mitzvahs. He was naked from all mitzvahs. Because he was naked, he was in the bathhouse, right? He was in the bath and he had no mitzvahs with him. So then he remembered the milah that he always was accompanied with the mitzvah of bismillah. Anyway, so I'm saying that this is it's a rare that a mitzvah is preceded by this term, by Yoma Hashem or Moshe Leibon. You have it by tzitzis, and you have it over here by, so Maisa, the mitzvah of Shabbos is not be'etzim mentioned here. I mean, the mitzvah of Shabbos is mentioned, but here it's only mentioned, as we're going to see from Rashi, vis-a-vis the Meleches HaMishkan. The Torah tells you we're speaking past Truma to Tzaveh. First part of a previous section here in Sisa tells you that HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu to appoint Betzalel to be in charge of the construction and the making of the construction of the Mishkan and making all the kalim and all the clothing. And now the pasuk says, okay, let's see the read pasuk Yud Gimel.
One quick question on what we said before about the bathhouse.
Yeah.
What about the 6 constant mitzvot that we have? That also is not.
That's also true. I saw somebody asked that question. That's a good point. It's a good point. I don't know.
I have to look it up. Maybe I'll find it someplace.
Okay.
Okay.
It makes
good.
my story better.
Yeah, that's true. Your chat. Yeah, that is true. Okay. Let's go. Pasuk Yud Gimel. So continue, Meir. Read Pasuk Yud Gimel.
Daber b'nei Yisrael lemor, ach et shabtotai tishmoru, ki oti b'nei b'ni. No, b'ni. Oh,
Beini.
between me, right?
Beini
Beini
u'beinechem.
u'bneichem. L'dorotechem ladat ki ani Hashem mikadishchem. Okay, so it says, speak to the children of Israel, saying, just that my Sabbaths,
Okay.
observe.
How do you translate the word ach?
Just observe.
No, the word ach. So as Rashi's going to
That or he
say,
doesn't have a translation.
who?
Art Scroll doesn't have a translation. He starts the sentence, just observe my Sabbath.
He most often does have a translation. What's the word just?
Ach? I thought ach was but.
Well, in
Well,
this
we see from Rashi-
Yisrael David, it says ach tov v'chesed.
Right,
I translate that as only.
right, correct.
Good and kindness will follow me.
Right. So that's true. Yeah, it's 100% right. So in this context, we're going to see in Rashi It means, however.
Whoa.
Even as Rashi is going to say, I think, let me double check how I translated it. One second. Where is it? Shemos. Find it here. Okay. Just 1 second. Here we go. Rashi's Sisa, 91. Oh, it's actually translated not this now. How you shall nevertheless keep my Shabbos. Okay, that's actually nevertheless.
So that implies that there's a connection to the previous sentence.
Right, and this is exactly what Rashi is going to say. Look at Rashi here. Let's see the Rashi, Mayo.
Okay. V'atadaber el bnei Yisrael, and you should speak to the children of Israel. Okay.
Rashi is going to dwell on this. The Rashi is what Rashi is dwelling on. It doesn't say V'ato tedaber b'nei Yisrael.
Oh yeah, it says V'atadaber.
Right, which means and you speak to the b'nei Yisrael. It's a lashon tzivui. It's an imperative form.
Right. Absolutely. Wow.
We can't hear you, Mayor.
I'm sorry. Yeah, let me move my.
Okay.
Keep moving. Sorry about that. Okay. So V'ata af al pi shehifkadeticha litzavotam al melechet hamishkan. So and you.
Even though I have commanded you, I have entrusted you to command them about the Meleches HaMishkan, but this is now more important. Al yokel beinecha litches is HaShabbos me'osim melacha. That it be not easy in your eyes to push off Shabbos because of this melacha. Because I might have thought the whole idea of Shabbos is to testify that Hashem created heaven and earth. And here we're building a Mishkan, which in itself testifies that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one who's in control of the entire world. So therefore I would have had a Havamina that constructing a Mishkan and making all the parts to it and everything would supersede Shabbos. And therefore that's the next Rashi says. Let's see the next Rashi.
Okay, so at Shabbot Totai Tishmeru. Okay. So what you said, however, right? However, observe my Sabbath? Okay. Af al pi shetihiyu redufin uzrizin bizrizut hamalacha. Okay. So what? Even though you're
Redufin means like pressed.
pressed, okay.
Eager, it's reason. There's reason samachama, it's really into it and excited about doing the malacha for the Mishkan.
To do the work.
Nevertheless,
But
Shabbat,
al tidachet mipaneha. Shabbos, don't push from
don't
before
push
it.
off, right? Don't push off Shabbos in face of the construction of the Mishkan.
Okay.
Now, Rashi adds over here, interesting point, interesting thing. Rashi basically is explaining, how do I know that's the meaning of this pasuk? It says, Kol achim
Rakin meutin lema'et Shabbat mimelechet hamishkan. Okay. So let's see. All
anytime the word says ach or rak, that implies a mute. It's a limiting clause. L'mayit Shabbos mimlechas hamishkan, to exclude Shabbos from the construction of the Mishkan. Now, what's interesting is here, the Ramban asked a major question over here. Now, normally when we say, he agrees with Rashi, ach and rak are a limiting clause. But where is the ach written? Is the ach written concerning the Mishkan? Or is the ach written in the Parsha about Shabbos? It's written over here, guarding Shabbos. So it's mashma on the contrary. I'm telling you, Shabsai say Tishmaru, you shall keep my Shabboses. Ach is Shabsai say, not been as much as I would have originally thought, but a little bit less than what I would have originally thought. So that's indeed how the Ramban explains this pasuk. And therefore he says, because there's certain instances when one doesn't keep Shabbos. When is that? 2 instances. One, Mila, mitzvah bris Mila. If the 8th day is on Shabbos, we do a bris on Shabbos, even though the Maisa is doing a malacha. Cutting skin off of a person, right, is a malacha. So the act of bris Mila, act of circumcision, is b'atzim a malacha. Nevertheless, on the 8th day, you shall circumcise the foreskin. And Chazal learned, since the Torah repeats, right? Because the word of Vayoim is superfluous, right? So you could just say Vashmini. Since it says Vayoim Hashmini, that indicates even on Shabbos. Okay, that's the whole sugya of the Gemara on Shabbos about it. Okay, and when is another instance when Shabbos is pushed off? Pikuach nefesh, right? If it's in the case of life and death, then the din is you don't. Shabbos gets pushed aside. Rather do a malacha to save the person's life, and rather than keeping Shabbos. So that's how the Ramban learns the process. Achet Shabsei Tishmai. So how do we answer
Karbanos?
Also Karbanos as well by correct. Karbanos Tziba also offered on Shabbos. That's another instance where Shabbos is put aside. Okay. So how do we answer Rashi? Because Ramban's got a major kasha on Rashi. So the Mefarshim on Rashi dwell on this. So the interesting thing, the Maskil David says a very interesting point over here. We have a rule that S, the word S, is always coming to include something. Right? S, S An older brother, one must, besides honoring one's parents, one must honor older siblings as well. Okay, so think. So now l'chayra, says the masculine but you've got a problem over here. On the one hand, you have an ach, which is limiting clause, and then you have es, which is an inclusive and addition to a word which tells you to add something to Shabbos. So says the masculine, as a result of that, Rashi understood that in this particular instance, the ach is not referring to Shabbos, but it's referring to what we've mentioned before, to Meleches HaMishpah. Okay? Yeah. Let's see the next Rashi. Ki oisi beinu veinechem.
We can't hear you, Mayor.
Maybe I need a new computer.
No,
I
maybe
don't
just-
know.
You know what? You can buy a microphone.
I'll have to look into that.
I
That's
have.
what I do. That's why I have.
Works very well. It's called TONOR. I bought it on Amazon. It's really, really good.
Okay, that's I think you can easily get. That's why my earlier screen, which I had built out speakers and microphone, and now since I have a new screen, it doesn't have that facility. But my camera also has a microphone, and the other thing which I have, I use it as loudspeakers because I hear you through that. That's why I was one or 2 days. The reason why I you couldn't hear me is because the microphone part, whatever, the computer hadn't properly registered that the microphone was one gadget, not the other one. So anyway, I'll go put him. Let's go into the thing. Okay. Let's see the Rashi.
Okay, so it says, Ot Gdola, He Beinenu, She Bacharti Vachem, B'Hanchili Lachem Et Yom Menuchati L'Menucha. Ot. So it's a great sign.
Yes, it's a great sign between us, Shebacharti Bachem, that I chose you. Yeah, well, when I gave you, there's nothing, how should I say it? I bestowed, that's right, bestowed upon you my day of rest for resting, to be a day of rest. Whereas technically, Shabbos existed. The concept of Shabbos existed, but from the time that Kodesh Baruch Hu stopped creating, and he created a day of rest. Shabbos is the day of rest. And it says that Kodesh Baruch Hu desisted from creating on the seventh day, and that special day, Kodesh Baruch Hu, was the day of Shabbos. However, nobody kept Shabbos till Klal Yisrael kept Shabbos. Obviously, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov did kept Shabbos because they perceived that this is what was Kodesh Baruch Hu wanted, that there should be a day of rest, and that day of rest, is should be Shabbos. Anyway, the Maisa Kodesh Baruch Hu is here bestowing this gift upon Klal Yisrael. My day of rest, Kodesh Baruch Hu says, my day of rest, I want to bestow that gift to you, that you will be the nation who will keep that Shabbos. This is the concept of Shabbos.
Okay, so let's. What's in there? That's the end of the run? No.
Lodas.
Ladat. Okay. I have an error in my book here. Ladat. Okay. Ha'umot ba Ki ani Hashem mikadishchem. So to know, okay.
Meaning
That-
that the nations should know, Lodas, that the nations should know that I am Hashem who sanctifies you. And the fact that only the Jews, the Jewish people has the Shabbos, has the special gift of Shabbos, okay? And the non-Jews don't have it. There's a Gemara, a famous Gemara. I can't remember exactly the details of it, but one Goshen noblewoman asked one of the Tanoim or Amoraim. She tasted the Shabbos food. He says, what is it? It has a special taste. It's got a fantastic taste. So he told us it has a special ingredient, Shabbos. Has a special ingredient, Shabbos is the ingredient. So he says, so the Goshen lady asked him, well, where'd you get hold of it, this special ingredient? So he says, no, you've got to keep Shabbos to enjoy that ingredient. Okay.
So why does it matter that the non-Jews know about Shabbos?
To show that that we are the chosen people. So it's interesting. It answers another interesting point, because if you notice in the Lashon the Kiddush, right? What is Shabbos for? What is the purpose of Shabbos?
The testimony that Hashem created the world.
Okay, so why is it that when we say in the Kiddush on Shabbos on Friday night, Zeicher Litzias Mitzrayim? So
remember that we exited from Egypt.
Yeah, what's it going to do with the Exodus from Egypt?
That permitted us to keep Shabbos properly?
Not just that. So this is the idea over here. When we came out of Mitzrayim, Kosh Baruch Hu took us out to be his people. We are his chosen people. And Kosh Baruch Hu, through the Shabbos, Mitzvah Shabbos, Kosh Baruch Hu shows that we are the chosen people.
So why does it matter that the non-Jews know that?
I guess to accord us proper respect.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Doesn't seem that it worked that way.
Also interesting that they sort of copied us in their own ways too.
Right.
At least the Western religions.
It's interesting. I can't remember where the Gemara says, this is the rule, that Goy sheshavas chayav misa. Goyim are not allowed to keep Shabbos. And maybe it's for this reason, because keeping Shabbos is something designated and put aside, Jafka, for the Jewish nation. The Jews are allowed to keep Shabbos, but Goyim not. It's an element of separating us, distinguishing us, that's a better word, distinguishing us from the nations. Okay. Let's go into Pasuk Yud Dalet.
Ushimartem es ha-Shabbos ki kodesh hi lachem mechaleleha mos yumas ki kol ha-oseh ba melacha v'nichritsa hanefesh hahi mikerev amiha.
Amen.
Okay, so it means you shall guard the Sabbath because it is holy to you.
For you, yeah.
For you.
Right.
Those who profane it will surely die, because
Actually will surely be put to death.
Okay. Most you must.
Doesn't say most yomus. Doesn't say most yomus means you will surely die, but most you must means to be put to death.
Ah, I see. Because anyone that does in it work, anybody that does work on the Shabbos, that soul will be cut off from
Its people.
Mikerev is in the midst of?
Right, from the midst of
In
its
the midst
people.
of its people.
Okay.
Okay. So most you must shall be put to death. Im yesh.
Rashi's got I tell you, so that's first of all, Rashi's got a problem over here. The words most you must mean implies he's going to get the death sentence. And then continue the next phrase, keep call. So means he's going to get what's the I don't know how to call it in English, chorus. How do you say chorus in English?
Excision.
Right? He's going to be his soul is either he's going to die young or his soul is going to be excluded from going to Gan Eden, from Olam Haba, depending what the thing. But this is the punishment of chorus. So you've got to think. 1 second. Is the person who profanes Shabbos, is he going to get Misa or is he going to get chorus? Right? Make up your mind. So this is what Rashi says. Rashi answers the question.
Im yesh edim v'hasira'ah, if there are witnesses and warning,
And it gets put to death. Okay? The Nichrasa.
Oh, I see. That's like the end of the sentence.
Right.
Okay. If there are witnesses and warning, then he shall be put to death.
Right.
The Nichrasa, and be excised below hasra'ah, without warning. So if there was witnesses but no warning,
if he profaned, if he did a malacha on Shabbos without warning, meaning there were no agent there and there was no warning, so but he did it intentionally, then he will get chorus. Okay, which is less severe than the death penalty, because the rule is that somebody who does Navera, which the punishment is the death penalty, then even if he does tshuva, he still gets the punishment. It's a murderer who supposed to get the death penalty, or somebody who profanes Shabbos with Eidim and Asra. Okay, if he does that, even if it's afterwards he does tshuva, he gets the death penalty. But by chorus, if he does tshuva takes away the chorus. So it's not even though he's deserving, it's a serious punishment because he's going to lose either young and without children, whatever, or gets a punishment in Olam Haba. But nevertheless, it has, which is all three are very serious punishments, severe punishments, but nevertheless, it has that advantage, I don't call it advantage, but maybe it's the right word. It has the advantage that tshuva can revert the punishment. Okay?
Michalaleha, those who profane it, ha noheg ba chol bikdushasa, one who behaves on it and treats its sanctity as if it were a weekday.
Right. Or as profanes. Means he treats its holiness with, how should I say it? Profanation, I don't know if it's the right word. Let me see, I translate it. Yeah. Whoever treats its sanctity in a profane manner. He doesn't treat it with sanctity, he treats it, he makes light of the holiness of Shabbos. He treats it like any other day. Well, that's what you said. It's a piece of notebook. Choil. Okay, I think we'll stop here and we'll continue tomorrow. Bezat Hashem, Pasuk 15, Pasuk Tesva.
Amen.
Okay.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Have a great day.
You too.
Yechiel, have a good day.
Yes, thank
See
you.
you, see you, Meir.
Okay, bye, Lou.